श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna. Thank you all so much for joining. We'll continue our reading of verse number 12. So, would someone like to just briefly tell us what this verse is talking about? What is Kunti Maharani saying in this verse in your own words? We'll have a recap quickly because it's a new week starting. So, anyone remembers what is the topic of this verse? So this verse is actually very again very important, and Srila Prabhupada's purport is also very beautiful because Kunti Maharani is talking about Lord Krishna's bewildering pastimes. So she's saying that no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor do you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial. So, two very important topics are being discussed in this verse. Firstly, that is Krishna partial or not, and then also that his pastimes, they sometimes appear to be misleading. So Prabhupada has not, I mean, Prabhupada has been able to explain both these points very nicely. And he's also clearly, he's also clarifying that Krishna is actually not partial. So this was very clearly discussed in the previous paragraphs of the purport. So let's just quickly, uh, revise what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport so far, and then we'll start with today's reading. So, Prabhupada explains with a very wonderful example of the sun that can we say that the sun is partial if it is not falling on someone? No, we cannot, because if someone just wants to stay inside the house, doesn't want to go out into the sun, and then such a person says that the sun is partial because the sun is not throwing light on me, then that's not right. No, you have to go out, step out, and then the sun is not partial because the sun will throw its light on everyone. So Prabhupada explains in the very beginning of the purport that Krishna is undoubtedly known as partial to his pure devotees, but in fact, he is never partial. Krishna is actually never partial. And great devotees actually explain that Krishna is not partial, Krishna is actually reciprocal. So there's a difference between being partial and being reciprocal. So what is reciprocation? Reciprocation is when Krishna's devotees, they are offering their love, they are offering their affection to Krishna, and then Krishna reciprocates with that love and offers his love, and beautiful pastimes are enacted with the devotees. So this does not make Krishna partial. Krishna is just reciprocating with the love of his devotees. Now, for example, uh, in the uh, in the Kuru Sabha, when the Kauravas were trying to disrobe Draupadi, the Shasan was pulling the sari. Then Draupadi ji calls out to Krishna, and Krishna comes and he saves her. Now here, can can Dushasana now start to say that Krishna is partial to Draupadi? He came and he took her side. Why didn't he take my side? Draupadi has a relationship with Krishna. She called out to Krishna. So Krishna came and saved her. The Duryodhan's whole party, they were totally against against Krishna, against the very idea of morality, and they were not, even though Krishna was right in front of them, they were not accepting Krishna's supremacy. So then here can we say that Krishna was partial to the Pandavas? No, the Pandavas were right. They were praying to Krishna. They had that relationship with Krishna. Draupadi is calling out to Krishna. So then Prabhupada explains with the example of the sun that by utilizing the sun's rays, sometimes even the stones become valuable, whereas a blind man cannot see the sun, although there are enough sun rays before him. So darkness and light are two opposite conceptions, but this does not mean that the sun is impartial, sorry, that the sun is partial in distributing its rays. We all know that the sun is not partial. Now, if someone just chooses to be away from the sun, and then I go and complain that the sun is partial and I have this vitamin D deficiency, then that is my fault actually, because I did not choose to go out in the sun. Then Prabhupada explains that those who are completely against the service of the Lord are considered to be in darkness. Those who ask for the Lord's favor only at the time of necessity are partial recipients of the mercy of the Lord, and those who are 100% engaged in the service of the Lord are full recipients of the mercy of the Lord. Such partiality in receiving the Lord's mercy is relative to the recipient, and it is not due to the partiality of the all merciful Lord. So the devotees, they pray to Krishna, they call out to Krishna, they serve Krishna. So Krishna reciprocates with them. He is not being partial. So this was about partiality, and then the other point is about the bewildering nature of Krishna's pastimes. So when Krishna comes to this material world by his all merciful energy, he plays like a human being. So that's why Prabhupada uses this word that Krishna is playing uh, like a human being. But Krishna is actually not, uh, he is not human. He does not have any human attributes. His whole body is spiritual. So even though by form it may look like a human form, but we know by scriptures and by our Acharya's explanation that Krishna's form is never material. It just looks human like, and that is why some people have this misconception that God is actually formless. God is just an energy. And when he has to just come and do some work, he takes a human form. And then ultimately, God is formless. A lot of people have this misconception. But the fact is that the Lord's form is completely spiritual. When he comes to do his pastimes, also, he is not in any human form. Okay, it is still spiritual. Okay, and then why does he come? This is explained in Bhagavad Gita also, that he comes for delivering the devotees and annihilating the miscreants. But, Prabhupada explains in the purport that a devotee is in a transcendental position because he is no longer under the control of the three material modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So that means a sadhu. It says, na, paritranay sadhu nam. So sadhu In common words, people may understand that sadhu is just a pious person, but sadhu is actually a devotee of the highest order. So then the doubt may arise that the sadhu is already on the transcendental platform. So what is the need of delivering him? This question may arise. So why does the Lord then come? Paritranay sadhunam. Sadhu does not require paritranay because he's already liberated, he's already on the transcendental platform. So then why does Krishna come? So Prabhupada explains that uh, the word vidambanam, bewildering, vidambana, like in Hindi we say. So vidambanam comes, which means bewildering. So this is why Krishna's pastimes are bewildering. They appear contradictory. Okay, so like he comes in a human form, but he's not actually human. He comes to deliver his pious devotees, but Sadhu is already delivered. So why does he need to come? And then annihilating the miscreants, that also the Lord can do through his energy. Why does he come? So that's why Krishna's pastimes are full of vidambana. They are bewildering, contradictory. So the Prabhupada explains that the answer to this contradiction is that a sadhu, a devotee, does not require deliverance, but because he is very much anxious to see the Supreme Lord face to face, Krishna comes not to deliver him from the clutches of Maya, from which he has already been delivered, but to satisfy his inner desire. Just as a devotee wants to satisfy the Lord in all respects, the Lord also even more wants to satisfy the devotee. So this is the loving exchange between the Lord and the devotee. So we have to understand that yes, devotees are already delivered, and yes, the miscreants don't really need to be killed. Krishna can, I mean, personally, Krishna can get them killed anyway. But Krishna wants this loving exchange with his devotee. The devotee desires that, and Krishna desires it even more. Then Prabhupada explains that the appearance and disappearance of the Lord within this material world are called Chikirshitam, Chikirshitam pastimes. It is Krishna's pastime. It is his leela, something that he does for pleasure. It's not that he has some work that he needs to perform. He doesn't need to come personally for that. Like it is explained in Lord Ram's pastimes that when Ravan comes and kidnaps Mother Sita, it's not actually the real Mother Sita, it is Chaya Sita. The real Mother Sita is under the is already away from that place, and Agni Dev is serving her. But then why all this is done? And even if it is Chaya Sita and Ravan comes and kidnaps her, why does Lord Ram have to go through all this, all this trouble of going and meeting Sugriva and making a deal with him and then sending out of all the parties to find where Mother Sita is and going and fighting with Ravana's army, and then with Ravana, he is the supreme lord. If he just desires once, Ravana would be dead, right? So like this, all demons, Krishna just has to desire that this demon should die. As Paramatma, he is situated everywhere and the demon would die. But then we would not have these beautiful pastimes of Lord Ram meeting Hanumanji, then the pastimes with Sugrivji, and then Hanumanji coming and finding Mother Sita, crossing the ocean, you know, like the entire Sundarkand we have in Ramayana. All these beautiful pastimes, and then how the Lord glorifies his devotees through these pastimes. He is actually playing, the role of a common human person, no, in Lord Ram's pastimes. So he is glorifying so many devotees through these different incidents, and then finally the great war with Ravana. So now we have all these pastimes that we can meditate upon, that we can discuss and talk to each other about it. And even though we do it so many times, it's still as beautiful. It actually, the beauty keeps growing as the pastime sinks more and more in our heart. So, this is the purpose. Krishna comes for his Leelas. Okay. And then Prabhupada explains that Krishna is not envious. When he kills a demon, also, it's his display of affection, like a parent giving a slap to a child because of love. So, Krishna's killing of a demon is not on the platform of material jealousy or envy, but it is actually on the platform of affection. And then Prabhupada, in the paragraph just previous to today's section, Prabhupada explains that Krishna does not need our service, but he kindly accepts it. So when a devotee is offering something to Krishna, some people have this objection na, that Lord has everything. Who are you to offer bhoga to Krishna? He gives everything. Who are you to offer anything to the Lord? Yes, he doesn't need anything. And yes, everything is given by Krishna. But when the devotee offers this service, it is purifying for the devotee. When Krishna says, Sardharman Paritajya, Mamekam Sharanam Raja, if we surrender, it's not like Krishna is lacking in servants, that there is a shortage. So Krishna is asking us, you also surrender, so my servant count will increase. No, he is asking us to surrender because if we surrender, we will be benefited. We will be relieved of the suffering that we are experiencing. Okay, we will get shelter. We will be saved. It is not that Krishna wants, a collection of servants. Rather, he descended for our benefit. So that was the last line that was read. Now let's move on to today's section. Yeah. So it starts with this paragraph, unfortunately, however. So would someone like to read?
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, please read.
Unfortunately, however, instead of becoming Krishna's servant, we are becoming servants of so many other things. We are servants of our senses and the sensual activities of lust, anger, greed, and illusion. Actually, the whole world is serving in this way. Further, I should read further also, Mataji. But but if we engage our senses in the service of Krishna, we shall no longer be servants of the senses, but masters of the senses. When we have the strength to refuse to allow our senses to be engaged other than in the service of Krishna, then we shall be saved. Shall I continue
Hare
next
Krishna.
paragraph?
Yes, Mataji, you can read the next para also.
Here, Kunti Devi says, your appearance in this material world is misleading, bewildering. We think Krishna has some missions, some purpose, and therefore he has appeared. No, it is for his pastimes that he appears. For example, sometimes a governor goes to inspect a prison. He gets reports from the prison superintendent, so he has no business going there. But still, he sometimes goes thinking, let me see how they are doing. This may be called a pastime because he is going by his free will. It is not that he has become subject to the laws of the prison, but still a foolish prisoner may think, oh, here the governor is also in prison, so we are equal. I am also governor. Rascals think like that. Because Krishna has descended as an avatara, they say, I am also an avatara. So here it is said, Na Veda Kasjit Bhagavams Chikistikam. No one knows the purpose of your appearance and disappearance. Tava hamanasya nranam vidambanam. The Lord's pastimes are bewildering. No one can understand their real purpose. Must I
Hare
continue,
Krishna.
Mataji?
No,
Hare
Mataji, we'll
Krishna.
discuss this. Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare,
so
Hare.
much. Hare Krishna. So here Prabhupada is explaining that, the concept of Krishna's pastimes being misleading. So Prabhupada is explaining through a very wonderful example of if the governor goes to a prison, and then the governor is also in the prison, and then the prisoners are also there. So the prisoner might start thinking that, oh, we are equals because we are in the same place. So these wonderful analogies that Prabhupada uses, we can actually help us, this really helps us understand these concepts uh, in a very deep manner. Like for example, if someone is telling us that Krishna's form is also like ours, so that means we are equal, or we can also become like God. These kind of misconceptions are there with a lot of people, because sadly a lot of people have not read the scriptures. But Prabhupada, in very simple terms, with these examples, is helping us understand that just because two people are in the same place doesn't mean that those two people are on the same level. Actually, I heard in one lecture that the same concept was being explained with a similar analogy of a person, the prime minister, going to a mental asylum. And there, he's seeing all these people who are kind of in some illusion and saying whatnot. And then one of the inmates of the mental asylum asks the prime minister, "Who are you?" And he says that I'm the prime minister of this country. And then this patient, he says, "Yeah, yeah, when I came here, I also used to say the same thing. Then I'm the prime minister." Now, does this mean that he's also at an equal level as the prime minister? No. So, with this mental asylum example and with this example of the prison, we can understand that if someone has gone to the mental hospital or to the prison of their own will, then there is some purpose that they wanted to fulfill. So Krishna comes for the purpose of Leela. This doesn't mean that Krishna is human like. Okay, definitely not. So we can never become equal to the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is always the Supreme Lord, even when he is performing the pastimes like a normal human being. Then Prabhupada has also explained that sadly, instead of becoming Krishna's servants, we are becoming servants of so many other things. We are becoming servants of our senses, our sensual activities of lust, anger, greed, and illusion. So we can actually never say that we are not serving anyone. At every moment, we are all serving someone or the other. If we are not serving Krishna, that means we are serving Maya. There is no time when someone can say that they are not serving anyone. In today's example, also, we can understand lives have become very self centered. No? People don't want to look after their families. Nobody wants to stay in a big family. And many people, they don't want to get married also because they don't want that responsibility. They don't want to serve anyone. But then what do? They keep pets, a dog or a cat, and then they have to serve the pet. It's so one way or the other. We have to serve someone. So, what is the intelligent thing to do is engaging our senses in the service of Krishna. And in that way, we'll no longer remain the servant of the senses, but rather we'll become the master of the senses. So, like in Bhagavad Gita, also in the 16th chapter, Krishna explains that about lust, anger, and greed, that these are three gates leading to hell. So uh, when we really get attached to something, we have lust, then we feel greed, and then when it is not satisfied, we feel angry. When it is satisfied, we want to keep doing it again and again. So all these things, they always take us towards hell. So every sane man should give these up because they lead to degradation of the soul. This is what Lord Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita also. And then also in 4.9, Lord Krishna says this, the idea that engaging in Krishna's service ultimately saves one from material suffering and from the cycle of birth and death. So, the solution to getting out of this entanglement of lust, anger, and greed is surrendering to Krishna. We cannot think that, no, I will not surrender to Krishna, but I by myself can take care of myself. I'll not fall into Maya's trap. There is no other way. As living entities, we are marginal energies of Krishna. We are on the margin. It is either Krishna or Maya. There is no midway. So if someone thinks that they are not interested in Krishna consciousness, but they are also not in Maya, then that thinking is not right, because we are definitely serving something. Yeah, that may be a higher cause materially, but it is still the still serving the material energy of Krishna only. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, it is said, Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat praratvena nirmalam. That means one must become freed from all material designations and become purified by engagement in Krishna's service. It is only Krishna's service that is going to purify us. And in Bhagavatam also, this concept of Goswami and Godas is very clearly explained. And that is why our effort should be that we perform activities which are in tune with our eternal position, and that is servant of Krishna. Right now, we are in this fallen state in the material world, but when we start performing activities which are in tune with our original nature, that means when we start performing activities at the level of the soul, that means serving Krishna, that is going to take us to our natural position. And that is actually going to take us out of this cycle of birth and death. So it's very nicely, Srila Prabhupada has explained that rascals think that because Krishna has descended as an avatar, I am also an avatar. You are God, I am God, everyone is God. There are philosophies like this also, that oh you now we have to see divinity in others, but people think that divinity in others means you see everyone as God and you see yourself also as God. That is not seeing divinity in everyone. Seeing divinity in everyone means you see the presence of the soul in everyone. So Prabhupada explains that no one knows the purpose of your appearance and disappearance. That's what Kunti Maharani is saying, right? So that's why the Lord's pastimes are bewildering. No one can understand their real purpose. Okay. Then the actual purpose Krishna, explains in Bhagavad Gita also that he is coming by his own free will. It's through his internal potency that he comes. And his body is transcendental. It never deteriorates and it's not subject to the material elements like our body is. So Krishna's appearance, like in 4.9, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo viti tatvada tatva deham punarjanma neti mameti suarjana. So, if someone understands that the transcendental nature of appearance and disappearance of Krishna also, such a person will also get freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Then, how can we say that Krishna's body is material? Definitely not. I have actually had, my cousin argue this point that, oh, see, Bhagavad Gita, it is written Janma. So Krishna is taking birth. That means Krishna is actually not God. He is just a material person. Now we don't understand that what Krishna is trying to say is the divine appearance. It is not birth. And then the problem is that they get hooked to one word. So they'll take Janma Karma. So Janma they are taking. But Janma Karma Chame Divyam. Krishna says that it is Divya. And when one understands this divine nature of Krishna's appearance and disappearance, even such a person gets liberation. So, how can we, even think of saying that Krishna's appearance is like a human being's appearance? Definitely not. And these points can become very clear if we just put in some effort in trying to understand and read our scriptures. That's all. So Krishna's purpose is simply his pastime, his leela, rather than being compelled by any material mission. Okay, Brahma Samhita also Lord Brahma says that Krishna is the primeval Lord whose form is eternal and full of bliss. He is the origin of everything. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. So how can someone say that the Lord is material? Okay, so definitely not. And Prabhupada explains that part very nicely here. Okay, now let's go to the next two paragraphs, starting with the real purpose of the Lord's pastimes. Anyone wants to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, please read.
The real purpose of life is the real purpose of the Lord's pastime is his free will. He thinks, please let me go and see. He doesn't need to come to kill the demons. He has so many agents in the material nature that he can kill them. For example, in a moment, he can kill thousands of demons merely by a strong wind. Nor does he need to come to give protection to the devotees, for he can do everything simply by his will. But he descends to enjoy pleasure pastimes. Let me go and see. Sometimes Krishna even wants to enjoy the pleasure pastimes of fighting. The fighting spirit is also in Krishna, otherwise, where from have we gotten it? Because we are part and parcel of Krishna, all the qualities of Krishna are present in minute quantity within us. We are samples of Krishna. Where from do we get the fighting spirit? It is present in Krishna. Therefore, just as a king sometimes engages a wrestler to fight with him, Krishna also engages living entities to engage in fighting. The wrestler is paid to fight with the king. He is not the king's enemy. Rather, he gives pleasure to the king by mock fighting. But when Krishna wants to fight, who will fight with him? Not anyone, ordinary. If a king wants to practice mock fighting, he'll engage some very qualified wrestler. Similarly, Krishna does not fight with anyone ordinary, but rather with some of his great devotees. Because Krishna wants to fight, some of his devotees come down to this material world to become his enemies and fight with him. For example, the Lord descended to kill Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Should we think that these were ordinary living entities? No, they were the great devotees Jay and Vijay who came to this world because Krishna wanted to fight. In the Vaikuntha world, the spiritual world, there is no possibility of fighting because everyone there engages in Krishna's service. With whom will he fight? Therefore, he sends some devotee in the garb of an enemy and comes here to this material world to fight with him. At the same time, the Lord teaches us that becoming his enemy is not very profitable and that it is better to become his friend. Kunti Devi therefore says, "Na Veda Kashchit Bhagavam Shikirsitam." No one knows the real purpose of appearance, of your appearance and disappearance. Taveha Manasya Nranam Vidambanam. You are in this great world just like an ordinary human being, and this is bewildering. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. So, Prabhupada is explaining that what is the real purpose of Krishna's coming. It's Krishna's free will that he wants to perform these pastimes. Like Prabhupada says, let me go and see. Krishna just wants to come and see. Prabhupada also is saying that in a moment, he can kill thousands of demons merely by a strong wind. And he need not come to give protection to the devotees, but he can do everything simply by his will. But Krishna just feels, let me go and see. That is why he comes and performs these wonderful pastimes. Now, in Bhagavad Gita, in 4.6, Lord Krishna says that although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in my original transcendental form, and this I do by my own internal energy. That means it's Krishna's voluntary act. It is totally his free will. It is not a compulsion. And Srimad Bhagavatam is full of these beautiful pastimes, leelas of Lord Krishna, which he performs for his own pleasure, and these are all performed by his internal potency. So when the devotee is calling out to Krishna for protection, Krishna comes because he wants to have that loving reciprocation with the devotee. So these things should clear, I mean, this explanation that Prabhupada explains, it should really clear, all doubts from our mind about Krishna being partial, about Krishna's presence being material. Prabhupada is giving so many wonderful analogies and so many different examples to help us understand that how logically we can really believe and understand that Krishna's appearance is totally by his own free will and it is completely spiritual. His creation and pastimes are an expansion of this bliss. It is not for the fulfillment of some external need. And then this very beautiful, section, the second paragraph that Mataji read, it is when Krishna wants to enjoy the pleasure pastimes of fighting. See, the Lord is full in himself. He doesn't lack anything. Like In this world, people have lots of different needs. We have social needs, we have a physical need, we have psychological needs. Like this, we have so many needs. And when these needs are not satisfied, people face problems. Now, Krishna does not have any such need. Krishna is not lacking anything. But Krishna desires to, have some loving pastimes with his devotees. And now these pastimes, even though the core is love between Lord Krishna and his devotees, sometimes these pastimes can also be of a different nature, like fighting. So Krishna can also desire to fight. Now, who will Krishna fight with? Right? Because everything is his creation, he is the most powerful, then who will actually come and fight with him? So that's when devotees only take the form of enemies. So it's like a drama. And whenever there is a drama, if we go and just see the drama, then we'll be really moved by it. No, a lot of things are happening. For example, if we see a very dramatic performance, a lot of fighting and action scenes are taking place. So whether it's a drama or a movie, lot of different things are happening. And the hero is there, the villain is there, they are fighting. And then sometimes it becomes, we start relating so much with the movie that even we start crying, even though we know that it is just acting. But then sometimes the performance is so good that we feel very moved. Right. And then we start believing, oh, whoever is playing the villain, we start thinking, oh, that's such a bad person. And then whoever is the hero, we are thinking, oh, all in favor of the hero, and we start hating the villain. But if we just go to the green room, at that place, the hero and the villain will be just sitting and chilling and then talking to each other and having a good time. And then this helps us understand that, oh, this was all just make believe. It was just a drama. So when Krishna is also fighting, like for example, Prabhupada gives the example of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh. So they were Jay and Vijay, right? So Jay and Vijay came to the world because of a curse, apparently, but they were playing this role of enemies of Krishna. But we know that, in reality, they are actually great devotees of Krishna. But Krishna has this desire to fight, and Prabhupada explains that, he also has this desire, we are, this quality, and that's how we also get it because we are minute parts and parcels of Krishna. We are samples of Krishna. So, where do we get the fighting spirit from? It is present in Krishna. So, just like, a king may sometimes engage a wrestler to fight with him, Krishna also engages other living entities to fight with Krishna because Krishna wants to enjoy that Veer Ras. But there are so many rasas, no? There are so many mellows in which the Lord can be served. So generally, we often talk about, the parental love or the conjugal love or the love as a friend or as a servant. But there is also Veer Ras. Krishna is also served in Veer Ras. And that is also something that Krishna desires. So then, to satisfy this desire of Krishna, some devotee will come and he will engage in fighting with Krishna. This is not someone ordinary. So, like if the king wants to fight, king is strong, right? He cannot just fight with someone who's inexperienced in fighting. He will engage a wrestler who is strong, who can actually match his abilities. So that is why when Krishna wants to fight, he cannot fight with someone ordinary. He will fight with some special devotee who will become his enemies and fight with him. So this example of Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksh, then Ravan, Kumkaran, like this. Also, there is another wonderful example when Krishna is not fighting with a demon, but he is fighting with a devotee only who is actually supporting the wrong side. Can you guess who that devotee is? Actually, a very great
Bhishma.
devotee.
Bhishma.
Yes, Mataji, Bhishma.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Krishna.
Bhishma is there. He is on the opposite side. He's supporting the Kauravas. Now, this Bhishma Dev supporting the Kauravas, this in itself is quite bewildering, no? And in a lecture, very wonderful lecture given by Radha Gopinath Prabhu, I would really recommend that you can, you hear that lecture. I'll share the link also. It is titled as Ras Leela on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. And this lecture was given, uh, you know, in a Bhagavatam class, and the shloka is where, after the battle of Kurukshetra, when the Pandavas come and meet Bhishma Dev, it's that section of Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada has given such a beautiful lecture, and he says that Krishna wants to enjoy this Veer Rasa. So Bhishma Pitama comes and he's giving Krishna that joy. And Bhishma Pitama and the whole pastime with Bhishma Pitama, as I said, it is bewildering because he's a devotee, but he's on the opposite side. Why is he not on the side of the Pandavas? Internally, he is supporting Pandavas. He loves them very much, but externally, he is still fighting for Duryodhan. So then, to explain this, there are internal reasons and there is an external reason. What is the external reason? Can someone tell? Why was Bhishma Pitama supporting the Kauravas? Would someone like to tell that external reason?
Hare
Yes,
Krishna Mataji.
Padma Mataji.
Mata,
Yes, Prabhu.
uh, uh, Bhishma Pitamaha has taken oath to protect the crown of the Kurukshetra, this Kuru Vamshas. Am I audible, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, you're audible. Just give me one moment, Prabhu. One. Hare Krishna. So sorry for going out a bit. Yes, Prabhu, correct. So yeah, that is the
Yes,
external
Krishna
reason.
Mataji. Yes. Oh,
Yes, Prabhu, very rightly said. And
What did
then
you say,
internal,
Mataji? What did you say?
Prabhu, do you want to repeat it again?
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Mata.
Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Padma
Bhishma
Mataji is
Pitamaha
listening.
has
Yeah.
No,
taken
no.
oath to protect the throne, throne of
Acha, acha. Okay,
this
okay. I know that.
Kaurav.
Okay, okay. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. I thought there's some other reason, Mataji.
No, that is the external reason, Mataji.
Yeah, yeah.
Internal reason is, and Radha Gopinath Prabhu in the lecture says, internal reason is it was Krishna's will. Okay, and he said that he had this question after watching Mahabharata, that why is Bhishma Pitama supporting the wrong side, and he said that this was the question he asked the devotees when he met them. And he said, I took 5 minutes to ask the question, and the answer was just in 5 seconds. It was Krishna's will. That is the answer. So yes, it is the explanation that Krishna wanted Bhishma on the other side because Krishna wanted to set this example that even just 1 minute. So sorry. Yeah, so the example is given by Prabhupada that when a mother-in-law wants to teach something to the daughter-in-law, because this relationship is very sensitive and the daughter-in-law is new, so she tells that to the daughter. Now, the daughter and the mother, they have a cordial relationship. The daughter will not misunderstand the mother. So through the daughter, the mother-in-law teaches the daughter-in-law. So this is what a sensible mother-in-law should do. So Krishna also, using his very dear devotees, he gives out this lesson to the whole world that you may be as strong as Bhishma. Now, Bhishma was very, very strong. He was the strongest in the whole battlefield. He was stronger than Arjuna also. And even he was able to defeat Parshuram also, no? So Bhishma Pitama was very, very strong. So even though you may come in the form, I mean, even though you may be very, very strong, strongest in the whole battlefield, Krishna is showing that if you are supporting the wrong side, if you are supporting adharma, you will still lose. So this is a very important lesson that Bhishma Dev is portraying through his pastimes. But then at the last moment of his life, see, this is also Krishna's reciprocation. His devotee has done this great seva all throughout his life. No? Bhishma Pitama, I mean, we can understand that someone who is so deeply attached to Krishna, he is one of the Mahajanas. He is so devoted to Krishna, he is so deeply attached to Krishna. For him to be on the opposite side, always opposing, I mean, always supporting the opposite side, the wrong side, it must have been so difficult and so painful. So he has done this very difficult service. Similarly, Lord Shiva, this difficult service of drinking the poison. So all these difficult services, they always go to the greatest of devotees. So Bhishma Pitama has performed this great service, very difficult, great service he has performed. And then Krishna's reciprocation at the last moment of his life, when Bhishma Pitama is there on the bed of arrows, Krishna comes. He's right there in front of Bhishma Pitama. So it's not that okay, Krishna just told him, oh, you go to do this difficult service, and then whatever happens, happens. Krishna is always there constantly with Bhishma Pitama, and finally, at the last moment where he needs Krishna the most, Krishna is right there in front of Bhishma Pitama. Yeah, there are external reasons to this also, that he wanted the Pandavas to get lessons from Bhishma Pitama, and those lessons are also very important. But what is Krishna doing through this whole enactment? He is present for his devotee, for someone who did this very, very difficult and great service of being on the opposite side. So,
And
through,
Mataji, he has
yes,
always sacrificed from the beginning.
Bhishma Pitamana, yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Correct, correct, correct. Very true, Mataji. Yes, very true, Mataji. And Bhishma Pitama's whole life, I mean, he was just living for others now. So it was a very glorious life and very difficult one. To do a difficult job, difficult services while getting glorified, that is also great, but it is still easier compared to doing seva when you are always going to be criticized. I mean, how many people really know the internal reason? Very few, na? If we had not been fortunate enough to read Srila Prabhupada's beautiful purports, would we know how glorious and what Bhishma Pitama actually is? Yes, he's appreciated for the great vow he took and how great a warrior he was. But then, does anyone, really understand that it was his deep connection with Krishna because of which Krishna sent him to do this difficult seva? So, through Prabhupada's purports, through the lectures of seniors, it is very important for us to understand the real reason behind what is actually happening. And then, in the end of this paragraph, Prabhupada says that yes, there are some devotees who come in the garb of an enemy, and they come and fight with Krishna, but Kunti Devi, but the Lord also teaches us that becoming his enemy is not very profitable. So it is better to become his friend. So at one point, we see devotees who come in the garb of demons, but we are also taught that we have to be favorable towards Krishna. Otherwise, it is not very profitable. It is better to become Krishna's friend. Krishna tells Arjuna na, that I'm teaching you this knowledge because you are my very dear friend. So, in one way, we are taught this also. So, that's why Kunti Maharani is saying that it is Chikirshitam. No one knows the real purpose of your appearance and disappearance. You are in this world just like an ordinary human being, which is bewildering. So Krishna's pastimes are bewildering, but by the mercy of our acharyas, we are able to understand them. And we should make this effort to actually try and understand the reason behind these pastimes. Otherwise, we will also be bewildered. And if someone comes and just pokes us a little, then that will really shatter our faith also, which is very risky. Our faith is something which is very precious. It is the most precious thing we have. And we'll be able to protect our faith plus help others also only when we are ourselves enabled with this knowledge of the reason behind the pastimes of the Lord. Okay, so just to quickly summarize, in today's section, we read that how, unfortunately, we don't engage in the service of the Lord. Rather, we engage in the service of our senses, where actually we should be serving Krishna. And if we keep getting entangled in this in this whole web of lust, anger, and greed, then that is just going to lead us to hell. And then when Krishna comes, even though he is coming in this material world, just like a governor may go to a prison, this does not mean that he becomes equal to a living entity. Krishna's pastimes are always spiritual. When he comes, also, it's through his internal energy, it's by his own will. And Krishna's Janma, Karma, everything is Divya. And we have to understand the real purpose behind the Lord's pastimes. He just comes because he wants to have loving reciprocation with his devotees. Like Prabhupada says, Krishna thinks, let me go and see. He is not obligated, he just comes because he desires. And then lastly, we discussed how some devotees will take the form of an enemy of Krishna because Krishna wants to enjoy fighting also. That is Veer Rasa. Okay, so Radha Gopinath Prabhu explains that there is one Ras Leela, which is Madhurya Ras Leela, that takes place in Vrindavan, but there is also a Ras Leela in the Veer Ras, which takes place on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and that is between Bhishma Dev and Lord Krishna. Okay, so we'll stop here today. If there are any questions, any comments, anything you would like to add.
Mataji, Hare Krishna, you'll be able to
Yes,
send
yes.
us a link for this the Radha Gopinath.
Sorry, Mataji.
You'll be able to send us that the link for Radha
I will
Gopinath
share it.
lecture.
I will share it, Mataji, just after